In a rare admission, Russia has revealed casualty figures of its military campaign in Ukraine. It says 1,351 soldiers have been killed, almost 4,000 wounded. But a few days ago, a pro-Kremlin publication said almost 10,000 troops had died. That news, though, was quickly deleted. The Defense Ministry has also made an announcement that says the campaign will now focus on the eastern Donbas region of Ukraine. It's believed possibly Moscow is switching to more limited goals because of the resistance it's been facing.
The main tasks of the first stage of the operation have been completed. The combat potential of Ukraine's armed forces has been significantly reduced, which allows us, I emphasize once again, to focus our main efforts on achieving the main goal, the liberation of Donbas.
The U.S. has imposed new sanctions on North Korea. That's after Pyongyang launched its largest ever intercontinental ballistic missile. Kim Jong-un says he's preparing for a long-standing confrontation with the U.S. and expanding his country's nuclear deterrent. Florence Louis reports on the launch of what some analysts are calling a monster missile.
This is North Korea's biggest intercontinental ballistic missile. State media has now released this video of the test, calling it a new type ICBM. Leader Kim Jong-un personally oversaw the launch, saying the test will deter any potential military moves by the US. South Korea reacted immediately, conducting a live-fire test of multiple ballistic and tactical missiles.
Our military is closely monitoring North Korea's military movement and confirmed that we have the ability and readiness to accurately strike the origin of a missile launch.
Thursday's launch shows North Korea's nuclear capability has advanced. The missile flew higher and for a longer time than any previous tests.
The size of this means that it can fit a lot more inside of it. So we're likely looking at a missile that can carry, for example, more than one warhead, right? So it could strike multiple targets with a single missile.
The timing of the launch is also significant.
Because of the world is kind of fixed on the Ukraine crisis, that either North Korea is trying to refocus attention on itself, or it thinks that because that we are so preoccupied that they may incur less repercussions because of all the bandwidth that Ukraine is taking up right now.
The test is being seen as a major escalation. The UN Security Council will meet on Friday to discuss the launch. For years, attempts to dismantle North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile programs have failed, and Kim Jong-un has made no secret of the fact he wants his country to be recognized as a nuclear state.
Taiwan is considering extending mandatory military service for young people following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Military drills have taken place on the Dongyin archipelago. It's a string of islands that are closer to mainland China than they are to Taipei.
First of all, it needs to be pointed out that Taiwan is not Ukraine. The Taiwan question and the Ukraine issue are different in nature. Fundamentally, Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. The Taiwan question is purely China's internal affairs and there can be no foreign interference. The two sides across the Taiwan Strait must be and will be reunified. It is the trend of history that can never be stopped by anyone or any force.
Ukrainian forces have reported advances that have pushed back Russian troops outside Kyiv. While battle for control of their country continues, civilians remain caught in the line of fire. An official in Mariupol in the southeast says 300 people are now known to have died after Russia bombed a theatre in the city last week. Written in large white letters outside the building, which was being used as a shelter, was the Russian word for children. It was large enough to be seen from the air. It was large enough to be seen from the air. It was large enough to be seen from the air.
UK Defence Ministry says Ukraine seized towns and positions up to 35 kilometers east of Kyiv after counterattacks and Russians falling back on overextended supply lines. Two Russian Su-25 conducted strikes at Kherson, Luhansk region. Dnipro Regional Administration, Russia targeted military unit near Dnipro city with 2 missiles. Rescuers working on the site. Russian Ministry of Defense claims control over Stavky, Krasny Partisan, Batmanka and Troitsky in Donetsk region of Ukraine. Russian military column moving from Antonivka to Kherson. One civilian killed, another wounded as result of Russian army shelling on Derhachi town in Kharkiv region. Hungary rejects Ukraine's call to allow arms supplies to transit through its territory and ban Russian oil and gas. A resident of Khabarovsk was detained in a case of treason. He is suspected of trying to transfer secret information to the special services of Ukraine during hostilities. Russian military column filmed near the border of Ukraine. Erdogan says Ukraine and Russia reached an understanding on 4 of the 6 topics of disagreement somewhat agreed on: NATO, partial disarmament, collective security, Russian language, remaining topics, Crimea and Donbass. Biden: we do not want Putin to be able to strengthen his forces and finance his war, so we announced a ban on energy imports from Russia. Images from Mykolaiv of a destroyed Russian KAMAZ truck and a captured pontoon bridge. Most areas around Mykolaiv are said to have been cleared of Russian forces. Rally against Russian occupation in Novotroitsky of Kherson region. Russian military column filmed in Belhorod region.
Сегодня 24 число.
At least 300 people died in Russian bombing of Mariupol Drama Theatre on March 16, City Council said. This figure is corroborated by witnesses who were there. In this account, in UKR, a witness says pregnant women transferred from a bombed hospital died too. Russian army shelled city hospital in Kharkiv with MLRS Grad and howitzers this morning. As result, 4 person killed, 3 wounded. The United Nations: we are very concerned about the food stocks in the city of Mariupol. Moscow's church reports Oleg Artyomov, military priest, was killed as result of projectile explosion in Zuravlyovka of Belhorod region. Near Izium, Russian troops attempted to break through Ukrainian defense from the southern direction near Tyhotsky-Kamyanka. This morning, a large column of Russian trucks with V marks was moving from Rychitsa, Gomel region, along the M10 highway, then turned onto the Gomel bypass road to the M8 highway. Authorities in Slavutich warn against any movement in the city due to snipers. Fires in Kharkiv as Russian army shelling city non-stop. China's state-run Sinopec Group has suspended talks for a major petrochemical investment and a gas marketing venture in Russia, sources told Reuters, heeding a government call for caution as sanctions mount over the invasion of Ukraine. Russian Ministry of Defense admits death of 1351 servicemen, 3,825 wounded. U.S. intelligence analysts have concluded that Russian military spy hackers were behind a cyberattack on a satellite broadband service that disrupted Ukraine's military communications at the start of the war last month, according to U.S. officials. Russia's defense ministry said on Friday that the first phase of its military operation in Ukraine was mostly complete and that it would focus on completely liberating eastern Ukraine's Donbas region. Civil defense working to remove explosive objects in Shiroka Balka district of Mykolaiv. Russian ambassador summoned to French Foreign Ministry. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has denied that there is a consensus between Russia and Ukraine on 4 points in the peace talks, as Turkish President Erdogan said. There is no agreement. Specifically, the only state language in Ukraine is and will be Ukrainian, Kuleba said. Russian military vessel shelled Sanzayka village near Odessa this morning. Explosions heard in Kyiv. 3 Russian cruise missiles were shot down over Odessa today. At about 4:30 p.m., the Russian military fired 6 cruise missiles at the Armed Forces Command in Vinnytsia. Some of them were shot down by air defense. Rally in support of Ukraine in Warsaw. In Warsaw, thousands of Ukrainians and Poles are welcoming President Biden to Poland by calling for arms for Ukraine, Bron dla Ukrainy. 350 people were evacuated from Mykolaiv to Odessa. U.S. military official says Russians losing control of Kherson. It doesn't appear to be as solidly under Russian control as before. Recent satellite imagery shows damage to Kherson airport from strikes earlier this month. Czech Republic MOD won't attend V4 MOD's meeting in Hungary next week. Russia oil is more important for Hungary politicians than Ukraine blood now, she tweeted. Russian troops kidnapped the head of the village of Motyzhin, Kyiv region, Olha Sukhenko, along with her son and husband. Hazardous air quality condition in Kharkiv as result of continuous fires from shelling. Clashes continue in Mariupol. Ukrainian army is in full control of Novovorontsovka village in Kherson region.